Right now, we know that higher levels of stress impact inflammation, and that higher levels of inflammation influence certain neurotransmitters that are involved in depression. My name is Tiffany Ho, and I'm an assistant professor in psychology at the University of California, Los Angeles. So I study the brain. I'm a cognitive neuroscientist by training, and what that means is I like to use certain technologies to better understand how the brain affects our behaviors and our thoughts. So I'm born and raised in California. I grew up in an immigrant household, so multi-generational. Around the time I was graduating, many of the high schools from where I grew up in the Bay Area in California were experiencing an epidemic of suicides. And I thought that was very sad, it was very tragic. And I wanted to understand, why this was happening. And I thought, we have all of this cool technology at our fingertips. We can understand how the brain is functioning, in vivo, in a non-invasive manner. Why not use that kind of information to help further our understanding of depression so that we can better treat it and to better intervene as early as possible so that teens and their families would not be suffering from this devastating disorder. I'm interested in understanding how stress influences brain development in ways that put teenagers at risk, and I'm also interested in identifying biomarkers of antidepressant response. So right now, even though there are 2 FDA-approved drugs for treating depression in teenagers, not all of them work on everyone. And I want to understand if we can use objective markers such as inflammatory proteins in the blood or certain neurotransmitter levels in the brain to predict who will actually get better on these medications. And that way we can use objective information to help clinicians guide their decision-making in terms of how they're going to be prescribing these kinds of pharmacological drugs. Right now, we know that higher levels of stress impact inflammation, and that higher levels of inflammation influence certain neurotransmitters that are involved in depression. So in that way, you can see very clear biological links between how stress is experienced in the body and how it can actually affect brain development. Teens offer an opportunity for us to look at depression during its early stages because often first onsets of depression occur around age 16. And if you look at the literature and you look at the statistics, those who are experiencing recurrent episodes of depression, meaning many instances of depression across the lifespan, usually those first episodes are beginning during the teenage years. And I think it's important for us to understand, why is depression happening? How does it affect the brain? And can we examine these questions without additional confounds, such as, medications, which older adults tend to be taking that are not necessarily related to their depression? Well, if there is only one thing I would recommend, and some schools are doing this now, is to have a later start time, because sleep pressures change during this period of development. Sleep is anti-inflammatory, and many kids now, they're just sleeping later and later because they're biologically wired to do so. But of course there's also some societal and peer pressure. But at the same time, because of academic pressures and other activities that they may be engaged in, they have to wake up, it seems, earlier and earlier. So I would say that is kind of an easy target, low-hanging fruit. And some schools are already doing this, and they are seeing gains. They are seeing academic improvements, especially among those who are less resourced, meaning those who actually need more additional help.